Lights, camera, action. I've done a few changes. I'm excited to test it out and see if the shite is a little smoother. So I'm going to go back into everyone's favorite game. I know. American Truck Simulator. I'm going to try something. I did a test on my own earlier, and I mean, it worked, but we'll just kind of see with it actually in action if it works or not, if that makes any sense. Like actually live, and with the web browser open. That's the only way that I can do a true test as to whether or not this is working. Nobody in here yet. That's actually good because I'm still trying to get ready. All right. Continue the game. I'm finally level 11. Not too sure if I can upgrade my truck here. But once we get maybe a couple of people, if people are crazy enough to want to come in, I'll share my continuing story with, Alienware. It's a little bit annoying. All right, let's go to Truck Manager. Let's go right away over here. Let's go to Upgrade. Let's see if we can upgrade anything. We're level 11. No, then it's in increments of 2, it seems. So even numbers, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. Yeah, same thing with this. So 12 is the next thing to get excited about. No problemo. So we won't waste any time with that. We will just get right down to business. First of all, let me see where I left off. I'd finished doing a big job. Current job, mix tank. Bullshit. See? Told you. Nothing going on there. But there was something I was trying to do. I just forget what that is. Hello, Thomas. Thank you. How are you doing today? Bear with me as I do a little voodoo magic. It'll be but a moment. Exactly. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to do something here. Yeah, we'll do that. See what happens. Let's go back here. Let's go back there. Ah, yes. And God said, "Let there be light." And I made it so. I mean, the sun's not fully out, but there's some light. So we'll go with that. Oh, nice. Are you the one with the piranha that was trying to feed your fish the other day and something happened? Okay, what in the hell was I doing? So we're in Winnemucca, Nevada. Winnemucca, Nevada. It rhymes. That wasn't supposed to be funny. It's just me trying to remember where I'm at. I'm not exactly American. Though the Las Vegas kind of gave it away, Las Vegas, Nevada, and I could tell that I'm within that state, so that's another way to check. I'm still missing 2 states that I haven't bought yet. I really wish they would add like Texas and just keep expanding all the way across the entire United States of America. And then, of course, the big blank spot above here. Yeah, that's Canada. That's where I live. Like, it'd be nice if they added that. But it would make the game really, really big. All right. Now, what kind of fish do you have? Let's go to job market. Get hired. No. Earn money using my truck. The price per day. Oh, I've already done one of those. Those are pretty wild. And you can see the job amount that you get. It's just That's a lot of money. It's a big distance, too. That's like crossing 3 states. That would probably take an hour. I got about 50 minutes, maybe a little less than that. We'll just kind of play it by ear. But it will come to a point where it's going to be like, I gots to go. I can try this one. Yeah, that's like a really... Yeah, that 132. I've already done a similar one to that. So let me just kind of look through these different ones to see if there's anything else that I can bring. Oh, a boat. That would be something different, bringing a boat. Oh. From Washington to Bakersfield, just north of LA. Thank you, Jack. How are you doing today? Oh, nice. Yeah, goldfish can get big, you know, when you treat those fish right and you feed them properly. You know what? Let's at least begin this journey, is what I'm going to say. Where does it start? It starts in Everett, Washington. We're going to set a GPS course. I have a current job. Oh, I guess I'll do that one. Didn't realize I was currently in the middle of a job. Nowhere did it tell me. Oh, right. You know, that big flashing pole? Oh, that's why. Sorry, bear with me here. I'm like, can you tell I'm distracted again? So let me share with you what I've done differently. Good to hear. About the stream. I dropped my resolution on my webcam to 720p, and I dropped it, and I dropped it to 30 frames. The gaming stream, like the actual gaming stream, I dropped it to 30 frames, but I didn't touch the graphics. Earlier, I did sort of like a test stream, but it's not quite the same. And it appears like I was getting a little bit more performance. I wasn't putting as much stress on my 7-year-old computer. And so, yeah, obviously 60 frames is going to be a lot smoother. But doing those subtle differences, you know, like 1080p, come on. My webcam is like that small. There's no way someone's going to look at me and go, bro, I don't quite think he's full HD. I think this fucking guy is scamming us. He's only on standard HD. There's no way that's still 1080p. I could promise you no one could tell the difference. I could promise you. So I decided to do that. That might have helped like 2%, 1% on the CPU. Dropping the stream from 60 frames. I'm still running my game at 60 frames because I'm playing it, but you're just watching. Yeah. Well, I'm not too bad. Hello, King Jones. I'm not too bad. I'm still a little stressed out because of that computer with Dell. They're not giving me the runaround. They're just not really well organized. I did get approved for a computer. It's just taken a long time to validate everything. We're already on like day 3. It's a little frustrating. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, if I want to go ahead and do this. I would have monthly payments of about $85. But right now, I'm currently paying that to a guitar store anyways. So if I could pay off my guitar store quickly, right? I'm already paying $85. Actually, I'm paying like, yeah, $80, $83 a month already, as it is, as a debt. If I pay that off because I only owe them another few $100s, and then get the computer, then out of pocket every month would be the same that I'm out of pocket now, except instead of owing money for a guitar, I would be owing money for a computer. So that's essentially the difference. And if I can do that, that'll work out really, really well. And I know that I can do that. It's just, you know, the whole thing with YouTube, you don't know from month to month how you're going to do, right? The last few months have been the best months on YouTube for me financially. And then all of a sudden in January, it ended up being shit. And I made like a solid few $100s less than I normally do. And that just shows you again how dynamic it is, right, on YouTube. Yes, generally speaking, everything's going up. My average views, my average money, my average everything is going up on average, right? But that's not set in stone. I kind of compare myself to a real estate agent. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're guaranteed to make something. You're just not guaranteed how much of that something it's going to be. Yeah. And yes, I'm having a little bit of a hard time here. I'm trying to not crash whatever it is we're carrying. I don't know if it's flammable or not. Not that that really matters. I want to make sure I don't clip it. Yeah, see? That's where in real life it can get tricky. It might seem simple, but you can't just like pull out, right? Because obviously, you know, physics, your trailer wants to be able to come out. So this is where I kind of have to do something like this. I'll look at the chat in a moment. I'm just really trying to get this going here. So we have to pull this out properly. A good amount. See? That's why trucks like to turn wide. Because look what happens when you do that. Well, maybe not like ram right into the garage, but you get the idea. That's why it's a little bit tricky. And that's part of the challenge of the game that I like. This is actually what I enjoy doing. Because this is some awkward shit. So again, I almost want to go into that cabin and then watch my top left mirror. Wait for it. Almost ram into the fence. And what do we got? Almost me ramming the trailer. You can see it at the top left. Almost clipped the side of the building. So that to me is where most of the fun is had in this game. Is that challenge, you know, how am I going to turn? And anyways, to me, it's fun. Shiny grill, indeed. I watched your first YouTube video. Oh boy. Don't do that, Thomas. Cut that out. Is this a town I see? Yeah, so where am I? Oh yeah, I've already said it. I'm in Winnemucca, Nevada. And we're going to go to basically in between Sacramento and San Francisco, California. Don't ask me what that was. Half the time I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, so the main point of this stream, apart from the obvious that I just like streaming, is I am doing a test. I did drop the quality. Well, not the quality, sorry. The frames per second of my stream from 60 down to 30 to help alleviate stress off my computer again, to recap. And I dropped the quality of my webcam from 1080p down to 720p and down to 30 frames from 60 to see if I get better performance. Because moving forward, I gotta be honest with you. If I don't have to buy a new computer and I can stretch it out like a good extra couple of months, at least until the spring or the summer, that really would be ideal, because then I get to save up more money and then I could buy a better computer for cheaper. Not much cheaper, granted, but nonetheless a better computer, and I wouldn't be forced to buy a new graphics card, because if I buy an Alienware, right, what happens with that Alienware computer? Well, they come with a graphics card, naturally. Well, I already have a brand new graphics card. Well, I mean, it's already considered a year old, heaven forbid, an RTX 2070 Super. Psh, come on now. I don't 4K game, so I don't give a rat's ass about 4K. I'm more of an HDR person. I just want a game rock solid on ultra 1080p 60 frames. I think people would appreciate that more than doing 4K gaming at 30 frames. I think people would rather that silky smooth 60 and a rock solid 60 frames, right? So that's kind of like what I'm aiming for. And I'm just being honest, if I don't have to spend the money, you know, if it wasn't for streaming and YouTube and all that, or gaming on the computer... Oh, I really botched that one. Oh, boy. Give me a second here. Well, I didn't botch it, but it's not quite how a real trucker would have done this. Although there's nothing wrong with what I did. Just if I had a driving instructor, he might be a little bit disappointed. Hello, Rash. How's it going? Is Los Angeles a location? Are you trying to be funny? I know it is, but is it in the game? Yes, it is. Yeah, these are all real-world locations. Who changed ethnicity? What? You can only race change in World of Warcraft. Nowhere else in the world does having a race change make sense. I instruct train drivers, so I can instruct you to pretend I actually know what the fuck it... Whoops. Speaking of which, I looked at what the Harukinator was saying, and I almost Haruku'd myself. Off. Let's get back in the road. What am I hauling again? Some stuff. It helps if I can stay in my lane. So, here it is. I'm finally on the highway. I'm driving. We got... Oh, wow. 8 people in here already. So, in case you're just tuning in, I dropped the quality of my webcam from 1080p down to 720p. I reduced the frames of my webcam from 60 down to 30. But I've also lowered the frames of my stream from 60 down to 30. And again, the reason for that is just to kind of see, even though I'm running the game at 60 frames on my end, the stream is a little bit dumbed down because it's actually helping my computer that much more. Already doing this for about 17 minutes now that I'm like driving around at a good speed, I can already tell with the green ticker at the bottom left of the screen, not saying it won't happen, but I'm getting much better performance. By this point, I would have gotten at least half a dozen drops down to like 43 frames. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I am also playing on an open beta patch of the game. But originally I was only streaming at 30, to be honest. I only started doing the whole 60 frame thing when I was playing like Hitman. Because if I stream or record on my PS5, I'll do 60 frames for everything, right? Because at that point my PlayStation's doing all the heavy lifting and my computer's just recording. But if I'm streaming, recording, and I'm playing the game from the same 7-year-old computer, it's too much. Some games I can get away with it. Some others, as we see, it's just I can't do it. It's just too much. So right now, rolling at 130 kilometers an hour with cargo. For some reason, taking sharp turns is where my computer would start to drop in frames. And it seems to be doing pretty good. I'm going to pause it for a moment. Okay, here we go. Car is bad. What? Dennis says, car is bad. Car gives cancer. No, that comment gives cancer. My company is running low on stuff. We need a resupply. What company, sorry? 720p. I can almost feel... No, you can't. That cloud isn't looking too happy. I didn't realize clouds were supposed to look like anything. I am so confused. Wait, what did Dennis say? Did I miss something? Oh, yeah, because... Yeah, that is a stupid comment. It really is. Like I said, I don't mind... I want to talk to you about something else before I carry on. So I'm going to ignore the chat while I talk so that I can focus on giving you some gameplay. and some talking, and then I'll look at the chat. I watched a guy I don't know. He talks about music. He plays guitar. I've looked up stuff on guitar because I'm a musician. I write music and all that. So that could have been why he was in my recommended feed. He's been on YouTube for 5 years. He's uploaded about 800 or 900 videos. And his main theme for his channel is what makes this song great. Naturally, he plays a lot of copyrighted music, but then he shares the revenue and all this. They're not real copyright strikes on his channel. So he got his first copyright strike, like his actual first on his channel. And if you get 3 of those, it's an automatic channel termination. He showed us the video that caused it, and it was like some really old band called The Cars. Speaking of what the comment we heard from Cars Give Cancer. The Cars, the band, is actually terrible for your health. Because when a person makes a claim, they know that it's not malicious when copyrighted content happens. You know those times where I like stream or I record and I was like, oh, this is going to get copyright striked? Well, there's a copyright temporary strike and a copyright permanent strike. And if you get 3 permanent strikes, you're out. See, what happens with most of these massive companies, whether it's Metallica, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, any genre of music, it doesn't matter. All the big people, what'll end up happening is systems that are automated will pick up and be like, hey, this guy right now, he's playing American Truck Simulator, but we can hear whoever in the background. So I'll get a soft strike, if you will. So all you do is you trim out the section, and then you can remonetize your video, and you're okay, and you're on your merry way. But the person who makes the claim for the copyright strike, if they choose to give you a hard strike, you are actually fucked to the point where you would actually have to fight it with the actual managers of telemarketing or whatever for like a superstar. So like, let's say Justin Bieber. I just use him as an example because he's popular and everybody knows his name. You don't have to like him to know what I'm talking about. And I could end up having to like plead my case with Justin Bieber's manager, literally, and be like, look man, I'm not playing his whole song. I was driving a car, flipping through the radio, and his song came on for a second. But you just gave me a hard strike. You never even allowed me to clip out, you know, that 2-second section. That goes back in line with what I was saying earlier a couple of weeks ago when I was complaining, sounding like a real social justice warrior, about watching what's being said in the chat. Not just in terms of vulgarity, but in terms of actual content of jokes. So a certain someone, which I won't name because I'm not here to put anybody on the spot, used to joke around about gassing people, and though I know her intentions were good, that could have been misconstrued as, okay, things that happened in recent history to a certain group of people that got gassed. But even though that's not what the person meant, it could have been taken as such. If YouTube suspects that you are being malicious, even if there's no profanity in what's being verbally spoken or texted in the chat in the live stream, never mind 3 strikes. They don't give a shit if you've been on YouTube for 1,000 years and you've always been a goody-goody. You step out of fucking bounds once, you're gone. There's no appeal. There's no warning. There's no pleading your case. You are fucking gone. Forever. It's so extreme that some people who live off of YouTube, sometimes, not too often, but it's actually led to some YouTubers committing suicide because of stuff like that. Like, that's some pretty psychotic stuff. Imagine making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month. You legitimately do nothing wrong. There's an error somewhere and your channel gets terminated because something got taken out of context. And you never were given the opportunity to plead your case. Could you imagine that? That's like being charged by the police like when I was arrested 20 years ago and going in front of the judge and he doesn't even allow me a lawyer to defend my case. I'd be in jail right now. Right? So that's a pretty big deal. So if I seem tense and I seem like I'm harping on people, which this is like an old speech I've narrated a few times before, that's why I do that. Because every day I see a case here and there where someone got permanently canceled or got a heart strike on their channel, and it's fucking scary. Oh man, there was too much chat. When did this become Correcto Town? I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Didn't even notice what Dennis said. Have you seen the girl who was insulting a girl with cancer? No, I didn't. Guess your Red Dead Redemption privileges are gone. I'm really confused. I retired from Universe Mode 2K for WWE 2K? Is what you mean? Is game theme song copyrighted? Some are sometimes and some aren't. No Sweat Red Dead Redemption soundtrack. I know. While you said that my cat is eating spicy That building looks really out in the open. Oh yeah, I was arrested a long time ago. Half a lifetime ago. Anyways, I wanted to catch up on the stream. Oh wow, there's 12 people in here. 12 people know I'm an ex-con. I don't give a shit. I told you. My life is not a fucking secret. Watch in a couple of weeks from now, someone try to use that as an insult against me. You're a no-good bastard. You got a criminal record. Everyone's got a criminal record. Just some people get caught and some don't. I just got ratted out 20-something years ago for doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was helping people that were into the herbs have an easier way of acquiring said green plants. And since I don't smoke that garbage, I was like, might as well make some money. It's not a secret. Everybody's broken the rules about something at some point or another. Anyway, so far the stream seems to be running smooth. I don't even think I've frame dipped once yet. So that's actually pretty cool. Really excited about that. Yes, to be blunt, we could say that. But it got thrown out of court. Because they couldn't prove it. Because I was sneaky. Because I had my supply all in one bag and not dimed out individually. So I was able to play that it was for personal use. There was no proof. And plus I wasn't read my rights. And I was abused by the police officer. And that was all caught on camera way back then in the early infancy of when camera phones were just starting to become a thing. So there was proof that I was mishandled, was never read my rights, and that police officer was also known for repeated infractions like that. So when I told the Canadian version of internal affairs, they're like the police that police the police. They make sure the cops do their job and don't step out of bounds. Someone's got to keep them accountable. I forget what it's called in Canada. It's not called internal affairs. But for the lack of a better term, and since most people in my stream aren't even Canadian anyways, everybody generally knows what internal affairs is. So I spoke with them. They were more polite with me than they were with the cop. Figure, I'm the young juvenile delinquent. I was barely still a teenager. You know, all the big chains, the tattoos, the shaved head, you know, up to no good. but I got more respect from the people at Internal Affairs than an actual officer of the law. Clean cut, well dressed, the bat. You know what I mean? It's the way society is, right? When you tell people you're a cop, you're a government official, you tend to be revered higher up, put on a pedestal, than looking at some young punk with a shaved head, tattoos, big gold chains and rings, getting caught with dope. Not exactly a good look, but yet, like I said, they spoke to me with a lot more respect than they did that cop. And they actually went as far. This is what's interesting about the law. They even went as far as I didn't take them up on it because I told them I was probably gonna hoof them in the fucking eyeball. But they told me at that time when I sat down with them. They said, if you want, how most people won't even believe this, but you can look into it. You can see for yourself. They actually told me that if I wanted, they would bring the cop in and have them mediate. Sort of like, you know, they bring him in, they sit him down like at a at the table there, like if you've ever watched Sons of Anarchy. And you've got Clay there with the hammer. All right, speak your piece. Right? They would be like the mediator. They would have sat the cop down on the left, I would have been on the right, and they would have allowed me to put him on the spot. Me, the no-good punk, caught with dope. I had the power, if I wanted to put that son of a bitch in his spot and ask him why he's such a piece of shit. And he would have been forced to address me. And it would have been mediated in front of people that police the police. But I didn't bother. It wasn't worth it because I had already done that face-to-face with him anyways. They even joked around and said, I'm surprised you didn't attack him. Like physically, because of my mental conditions and because the police officer was aware of my mental state, but he was trying to use that against me. He was trying to antagonize me on purpose, right? Plus he harassed me for a good like 4 or 5 years. He would like throw dope on the ground and go, "Oh, Phil, is that yours? That's not your cocaine, is it? That would be a real shame if I had to arrest you again, wouldn't it? I don't think this amount of cocaine would get thrown out of court." So he would try to do that, right? But they told me, you know, no matter what he does, he can't do shit. So life is pretty fucked up. Like I said, if I had a book, an autobiography or something on my life, some of the shit that I've been through, a lot of it people wouldn't even believe, which is why I don't even bother talking about it, because it's kind of like a waste of time. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, pal, whatever. Right? But, yeah, there you go. I don't want to crash. No hands on the wheel. No, see? See? Now we're putting words in my mouth. I was not a part of a gang. I associated with some shady people. But I, Phil, was never in a gang. At some point I had affiliated with. I was friends with some people that were, but I myself was never one. That's like a limit that even I didn't want to cross. I never wanted to go that far. Alright, let me pause it again. Raj, don't be spreading bullshit now. Oh boy. Well, Tokyo can come to me because even though I live in Canada, and I like living in Canada, because it's a fairly peaceful place, I want to see... Exactly, I was my own whatever. Play the first one. Oh yeah, you like the WWE games, that's good. Without... Yeah, I would end up eating the cat if it ate 90% of my food. I know, was that a joke? I shouldn't... gee. Right? See? I can make, inappropriate comments. And I don't regret anything I've ever said. The Navy will come, yeah, well, Yakuza I don't joke about. I have met some in my life. I think we've discussed that briefly. And, the ones that I met, they definitely don't play by the same rules the, other cultures play by. They're much more honorable. From my experience. Of course, Haruki could be, like, giving me thousands of examples, but I'm just going by of all the different organized groups of people that are out there in the world, even between, like, triads, you know, Bloods, Crips, all those big, you know, people. The Yakuza have to be, in my opinion, first of all, one of the most dangerous ones, but at the same time, if you mind your own business, you know that whole thing, and it usually that's a golden rule of thumb in life, right? If you mind your own business, so will other people, regardless of what they're doing. But I find they kind of take it to a whole new level. In a good way, I mean. Never did I ever feel like, ooh, I better tread lightly here, or I'm going to end up missing a finger or a testicle. You know what I mean? Whereas some other people, once I found out they were with certain groups of people, they would almost do anything to frame you for some of their wrongdoings or some of their mishaps to try to pin it on you so that they had someone to blame. Because one big thing that these groups like to do is they like to screw each other. And sometimes within a group, you have a lot of stupid fucks. And they like to screw each other over sometimes. They like to fuck around. And who better to blame than a person like me, and I've been through this a couple times, where they're like, he took it. He stole it. Then it makes me look bad. Then I've got the other group now angry with me because they think I'm the reason the other group can't pay them back. You see where this is going? Because now I lose street cred because I'm not actually a part of any of these groups. So as you could tell, whoa, holy cow, what's going on in the back of my truck there? Hold on till later. Jesus, it's not even nighttime. That's why I stopped hanging out with these people. Right? I mean, first of all, I cleaned up my life. I stopped doing things I wasn't supposed to do. So I kind of felt it would help not associating with people that weren't changing their life. Plus, I got tired of taking the blame for shit that they were doing. Because that can get deadly. Anyways, the word that Haruki used, the Yakuza, they don't pull that kind of fucking childish bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean not one has ever done it? That's not what I'm saying. But I've met enough people to tell you that they run by a different code. I didn't feel like I had to watch over my back when I was around some of them. You know? It's kind of a nice feeling, you know? When you're talking to someone, or you're talking to a group of people, and you don't feel like you have to wonder if your head's eventually going to roll off your shoulders, it's a really great feeling. It really is. And anybody else I've ever hung out with, I always kind of felt like, is this guy, you know, going to try to find a reason to have me put out of commission? So. And when you are hanging out with the extremes, not the people that are wannabes, but the real deal, takes a special kind of person, right? That's willing to go to any lengths to get shit done. Oh wow, we're almost there. I'm just trying to read there. Who watches Shin-chan. I don't know who or what that is. Street cred. Street credit. Like reputation. Credibility. Like, because I was never a part of a gang, I never did that stuff, you don't have a certain level of credibility. Right? Because when you're in a gang, they vouch for you and all that. You have a certain, it's like a prestigious title. Oh, you're with such and such. Oh. Right? If you're just like Rinky Joe Blow down the street and you're not officially a part of anything, well, then it's literally that. You're just some random schmuck. Right? Oh, I swear, I never did or said that. Uh-huh. Right? So one group is going to take the word of another guy, even in a different group, more seriously than you're going to take my word for it, because those two people have something in common. They have chosen the path of craziness. Right? It's like a weird kind of mutual respect, if you will, which I never understood, which is why I never partook in it, ever. Never even got tempted. I was like, no thanks, I roll on my own. I don't need to have a group of people with me to feel special or cool. Thank you very... Oh, wow, that's difficult. Look at that. Could you have made it any harder? Watch me fuck it up. Okay, seriously? Don't make me look bad. What the fuck? Oh. I wasn't... There we go. I was like, what is going on there? Yeah, my frames didn't drop like a bunch of times like it did yesterday. Nice. That's what I wanted. We are now level 12. Excellent. You hate them in Hokkaido? Yakuza is a video game, but it's loosely based on real people. They're a real group. Yeah. That's right. They are the Japanese mafia. They're... It's a pretty big deal. I really like Mafia 3. I think it's a unique story. It had a black protagonist, which was something nice for a change. You kind of got to see life through, well, fictional, but some things were loosely based on reality, how life was back in the 60s and stuff. It was just different, you know? It was a different time frame. It didn't take place in the fucking future. It wasn't just some drunk white fucking asshole like a lot of other video games of that genre. It was just different. So it was nice to see that in Mafia 3. Plus, we got to see Vito in that game from the prior Mafia. So that was pretty cool. Hello. Normally, I don't call people monkey, but I mean, it's literally your name in the title. So I can't just start calling you something else. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that can be pretty annoying for sure. All right, I do have to go in a few minutes. Let me just see something here. I am right there. Let me go right there without a tractor trailer. Oh, would you just... There we go. Bye-bye, trailer. I want to make sure I don't end up in the river. I'll just go check out, like I said, every 2 level... Well, not every 2, but in increments of 2. on even numbers, you can upgrade transmissions, engines, and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to go take a look at, just to kind of let you know, give you a heads up as to what's going on. Probably going to end the stream in just a few minutes. I want to do some other shit, to be perfectly honest. 45 minutes here. But I wanted to do a quick stream. And the main focus of this one, like I said, I got my answer. Dropping the quality and the frames of my webcam, and dropping the frames of my gaming from 60 to 30, even though I'm still gaming physically at 60. The stream is at 30. That was enough that by this point, do you know how many frame drops I would have had by now in this game? Like 15 or 20? You know how many I had in this stream? I didn't see any. I didn't notice any. So that's a huge deal. 20 like spikes versus 0. So yeah, you want 60 frames a second with this game with a bunch of like spikes, or do you want a smooth 30 frames that's consistent throughout? I'm also trying to find a reason to not have to go out and spend, you know, over $3,000 on a goddamn computer just so I can stream at 60 frames. That's pretty insane. Yes, my computer is old, but it's still quite capable. I can still get a lot done. I predominantly game on PS5 anyways, and that's all 60 frames anyways. I can, like I said, I can stream and record easily at 60 frames if the game is like PC. So you don't have to worry about, like, me running Hitman 3 at 30 frames. That would never happen. Because, again, the PS5 is doing all the heavy lifting for the game. My computer at that point is just doing the streaming. Right? The fuck was that for? I never agreed to paying the toll. The toll? Where the fuck are we going? San Francisco. We are just northeast of San Francisco, and we're going to San Rafael. I'm not going to pretend to know where that is, but... Mafia 3. Yeah, I like Mafia 3. I really like Clay. Was his name Clay? Clay Aiken? No. It's on the tip of my tongue. The protagonist that you play in Mafia 3. I really liked him. It was different, you know? Just the whole story. Came back from Vietnam, and, you know, it's just, I liked it, plain and simple. Well, after this, like I said, I'm going to have to test out that game. Because after the last time, I'm not going to lie, all those frame drops that I was getting, that completely turned me off. So I'm going to see what happens on my own when I'm doing a private stream. I'm going to play the game like I did with this one here at 60 frames, but I'm going to stream it at 30 frames so that it gives my computer a bit of breathing room. And I'm going to see if I can get it running stable, which would be ideal. Because I can't do 60 frames dropping down to 53, back to 60, back and forth. I might as well just fucking play it at 30, right? Yeah, I could have a separate computer if you're paying for it. Right? Computers are expensive. Yeah, I would never have a spare computer. That's ridiculous. No offense for me. Like, for me personally, I would never do that. Why have two half-ass computers when you can just have one good computer do all the work? Right? I'm like this close from being able to keep up with everything I want to do. Oh, it wouldn't be cheap at all. It wouldn't be any cheaper. What you're saying is for me to build a shitty computer just good enough to record while I use this computer to game. I wouldn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, to me personally, no offense, that would be a waste of money. So in other words, buy and build and purchase a budget computer just good enough to record, and then still keep this computer, which is very capable of playing on ultra 60 frames on its own, but just have the other shitty computer take the load off of, what it takes to stream and record. I would rather not do that at all. Don't forget, my computer's also 7 years old. It's starting to fall apart. I'm having some issues with it. My sound vanishes a couple of times a day. I get audio crackling, right? It's a lot more than just it's a bit old. I'm literally starting to have this computer fall apart. It's not a reliable computer whatsoever. Right? In a perfect world, if I didn't have any actual technical issues with the computer, but then I need an extra monitor, I need an extra cable, an extra tower, it takes up room on my desk, fuck that. I got a PS5, I've got a Nintendo Switch, you know what I mean? I already got 2 monitors, 2 keyboards, 2 mice, a fucking steering wheel, an audio interface, the arm for my microphone, a DSLR camera, I got a goddamn tripod to hold up my camera. It's too much fucking shit. It's the middle of winter here, and I've got the window wide open because my gear gives off so much heat that I sweat if I don't have the window open in the middle of winter in Canada. That's another thing, too. The extra heat that would be generated from me having another computer. It would drive me batshit crazy. I already have a laptop. It's just too much wires. Too much shit. Like I said, my computer isn't stable. In a different world, if I didn't have the audio issues and shit like that with this computer, I could have in theory grabbed my MacBook and had that to do the recording and just ran the game from this computer, and that would have been it. Just to get an external peripheral record, kind of like when I record my PS5, right? My computer does the recording, my PS5 does the gaming, right? And that's why I never have an issue with my PS5, because it's doing all the lifting, like I said 1,000 times, right? And then in this case, my computer is like, oh, thank God. I don't have to play the game, I just need to record what's going on his PS5, right? So if I had a laptop, which I do, a MacBook, I could record what I do on my computer and not have this computer also have to record, which is that extra stress that I talk about, and I'd be able to have smoother gameplay at 60 frames when I record. But this computer is falling apart. That's the issue. It's not reliable. So I do need to replace it sooner than later. But I don't. I want a computer that doesn't crash. I want a computer that the audio doesn't crackle. I want a computer that I don't have to reboot 10 to 15 times a day. Yeah. It's very important. Like, a couple hours here and there, or an hour here and there, you don't see all the problems that I face throughout the rest of the day. All the other issues that I have that I don't bitch about. There's a lot of, like I said, little hiccups with my computer. It's a pretty decent system. It's capable. But, I'm on borrowed time. Like I said, it's just a matter of time before I'm completely screwed. I wouldn't service a 7-year-old motherboard. Do you know how much money that would cost to service it? Plus, I don't even know if it's the motherboard, right? There's nothing technically broken with my computer. I've already tried diagnosing it myself because I know a lot about computers. It's just one of those things where it's just, it's a piece of electric equipment, right? They're all bound to fail eventually. Like my 12 or 13-year-old monitor, the 27 Asus that I got from oh man, it's old. One day that monitor's just gonna phase out, right? It's just gonna die. It's like my main TV. It's beautiful. I love it, but it's 5 years old, you know? We live in a world where sometimes things don't last all that long. I'm surprised my TV's lasted half a decade. I actually had a 32 variant of this exact TV, same exact model. The only difference was one was a 43-inch and the other was a 32-inch. I had two TVs. I prefer 32-inch. To me, it's the perfect size, not too big, not too small. One day, I was playing a game. This was way before I YouTubed. And out of nowhere, the whole center, almost like a crater, it just went like pitch black. It was like super dark. It was like an explosion inside the TV. It was just fucked. Had to throw it out. That TV barely lasted a year and a half. This is the exact same TV, but so far I've had it 5 years, right? So anything could go at any time. But yeah, me wasting time, energy, money on this fucking old computer, not worth it. Not even close. Absolutely not. The only upgrade I did to the computer because it was quick and I knew that I could pull it out and put it in a new computer, like I said, was last March when I bought a new graphics card. I spent a lot of money, got an RTX 2070 Super, and that made a big difference because I knew that going forward, later, like in 2 steps, when I would rebuild another computer, I wouldn't need to buy the graphics card because I already did that, right? I could literally right now open the side door, rip out the GPU, put it in a new computer with a new motherboard, new CPU, new RAM, all that new fancy stuff, and I'm up and running, right? Yeah, well, nothing's cheap here, especially not on my budget. Yeah, I wouldn't even pay $10 to be honest with you. It's just it's a waste. Because of how seriously I'm taking YouTube and with everything I want to do, this computer, like I said, it's on the fence. And it's just kind of going, ooh, it's just a little too much. I can get away with doing practically everything I want to do, which is why I've been putting it off for so long because I don't need the best. But yeah, anyways, that's something I'll have to think of on my own. But oh, there we go. So we got a new engine for this one. It doesn't show that we're getting a bump apart from getting more horsepower, not more torque. That's different than horsepower. We're getting 25 extra horsepower, but with the new 18-speed retarder, that always makes me laugh. The 18-speed retard. Hey, it's right there in the word retarder. That gives us better everything, normal, heavy, maneuverability, hills. So that's pretty cool. But yeah. Anyways, I do have to go in a minute. There is some other stuff that I want to go and do. I might go for another walk. I did my P90X today. I'm feeling it. Let me tell you, I can feel it. It is pretty painful. No new tires there. Oh. Ooh, shiny. See? Yeah, I'll spend the rest of my time doing this on my own, to be honest with you. This isn't really particularly all that interesting. Me just mouse clicking, adding some chrome parts to my truck. You did. But yeah. Anyhow, yeah, I did an hour. Thanks for stopping by. I could be back later. It's one of those things again as to whether or not I want to. But it's always nice to see like a good half dozen people in a stream. I'm not gonna lie. That's always a nice bonus. If my streams always had like one or two people, I'm not gonna lie. I probably would be like, yeah, fuck that shit. But I seem to be averaging a little bit more lately, closer to like 8 to 12 people in a stream. That's kind of like a nice, decent little amount of people. So there's a chance within about an hour-ish. Yeah. Well, I kind of do on my channel. They're called sit-down rants, where I just storytell. The whole screen is my big, bald pumpkin head, and I just ramble on about a random event or something. So I do those sometimes. But yeah. All right, there's a chance I could be back within an hour. Not too sure what I'm going to do, just being honest, which is why I cop out with the title, which has been remaining pretty consistent with mainly chatting and some random games. That way there's no like expectation, right? There's no someone coming in complaining, why is he talking so much? Because the fucking title says mainly chatting. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know some gamers that stream and they don't even play games. All they do is talk like I do, but there's no games. And they're doing fine. 1,000, 3,500 people consecutively a live stream that want to listen to these people just talk with no games, and they're gamers. So yeah, chances are I'll probably do a little bit more of a mix again between, some Hitman 3 and some American Truck Sim because I'm having a blast with this game. I want to level up a little bit more, see what else I can unlock. And with Hitman 3, I'm really close to Whittleton Creek Mastery level 18. I think I'm at like 16, 15 or 16. I want to see if I can get to 18 so I can unlock that crowbar. Really, really looking forward to that. Again, that could be used for a melee weapon, which I like, non-lethal melee weapon, and I don't need to bring a lockpick with the crowbar because you can crack doors open with it. So that gives me an extra slot to bring some other shit with me. So that's really cool. So yeah, chances are it'll be a mixture of that. And if I do some PS5 gaming, I'll make sure to switch up my stream up to 60 frames because I can easily do that. No problem. But yeah. With animation, well, I'm not an animator. I mean, I can draw, but I can't put together an animation. I'm not that talented. But yeah. Anyhow, thanks for stopping by. And like I said, I could be back in as little as about an hour or so. And if not, it'll probably be the usual closer to like after supper ish or up to about 8 o'clock at night. Okay. So thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it's good. And maybe I'll see some of you